I'm an ape.
Yeah.
Are you, Bishop?
I'm not.
Okay.
Definitely I'm not.
Well, I'm an ape. I'm an African ape. And
Yeah.
I'm very proud to be an African ape.
Yeah.
And so should you.
Human beings are still fish.
Human beings are fish?
Why, yes, of course they are.
You're a single cell of annoyance that has crawled out of the primordial slime.
We're scientists. We can conceive of anything.
You must learn to distinguish between smut and science.
When the Pope recently addressed this issue, and he said, God is not a magician. Evolution in nature does not conflict with the notion of creation because evolution presupposes the creation of beings who evolve. Helpful.
It is helpful because there's so many people comforted, get so much out of being in the community of Catholics, that to have their head guy say, we're going to join the mainstream of scientific thinking is good. But
actually, that has been in Catholicism for a very long time, and many popes and many high-ranking members of the clergy have made similar statements going back decades. So let's not be surprised at that, okay? It's not like you did anything to engender them to you.
That the creationists also deny climate change.
Oh, Okay. Notice that creationists, generically putting all creationists together, deny climate change. Okay, and what is this? What is this here? Okay, this is from way back in the day when you called it global warming. Now you can say climate change because that way you cover absolutely anything that happens. You can call it climate change. A scientific and biblical expose of climate change. Oh, there it is. See, they were bridging the gap already. And who is this by? It is by Coral Ridge Ministries and Answers in Genesis. And do they deny global warming or climate change? No, they do not. They affirm it. They just question whence it comes. That's all. That's the debate. Is how is it being caused? Who is causing it? Is it human beings or is it a natural change of climate that occurs cyclically? That's the real issue. But don't let that fact bother you. Just listen to Bill Nye tell you that all creationists deny climate change.
Really important thing to them. Just look at this morning's stories. We have the snowstorm in the Midwest, and then we have the military building this extraordinary robot for fighting a war that maybe we're not going to fight again, you know.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. See, he picked up the newspaper. There's a storm. Climate change.
That's not how wars are being conducted right now. So future generations are going to wonder what we're up to. That's all.
You also talk about cloning here and worry about cloning.
You know, cloning is, just, if you understand the science of it, is straightforward. This is to say, you don't want to clone yourself, because then you don't have a new mix of genes going into the future. That's the whole idea of sex. Apparently, sex gives you enough of an advantage as a living thing that it's worth bothering. You know this expression, the lilies of the field do not toil in the They work pretty hard to make flowers. You look at a dandelion, it's working as hard as it can to make a flower. It's important to them.
You write, too, that sometimes you have to pick up other people's trash to make the world a better place. I love that line.
Two things from my
trash?
dad.
Yeah, two things from your dad.
Every person's responsible for his or her own actions. Leave the world better than you found it.
Those are two good things. What trash are you picking up?
Yeah.
I pick up trash on the street, and
you're quoted as saying you have to make the world better by picking up trash.
Well, trash is an overall expression, meaning just because somebody else pumped all this carbon dioxide into the atmosphere doesn't mean you shouldn't take steps to.
You should do what you can do to make it.
Well, not only that, do all you can.
Back to creationists and all of that. I mean, do you know any scientists that you that will argue with you? Any serious scientists will argue either about religion or creationism?
Well, now religion has to be, is for me, completely separate from science. I mean, we all believe in something.
Okay, then
that
separate
we can't prove,
atheism from science.
So if you...
Now this is interesting. The graph says creationism versus evolution, 6,000 years Earth age versus 4.5 billion years, which means they're lumping all creationists together. They're not considering young Earth creationists versus old Earth creationists. And then the bottom refers to the universe and whether it was created or evolved over billions of years, which is interesting because evolved over billions of years doesn't tell you where it came from.
It's great, but whatever you feel, the Earth is not 6,000 years old, and there was not a flood with every tree on Earth underwater 4,000 years ago.
There weren't animals 2 by 2?
No, there.
Okay.
You can't. Okay, but Mount Ararat is snow covered. You can't hop from there to Australia.
Okay, what does that have to do with it? The Bible says that the ark landed on the mountains, plural, of Ararat, not on the one mountain that you can point to today that has been called Ararat and say, it's covered with snow. What does that have to do with anything?
Scientific fact that you were going to share it with us. What is it?
My favorite scientific fact is that we are made of the stuff of exploded stars. We are made of stardust.
Right.
And so, therefore...
And we got to get ourselves back to the garden, yeah. Sorry, I don't sing.
It's one of the ways that the universe knows itself.
Wow, man, that's like so deep.
Well, so did my old professor Carl Sagan. That's why I was first exposed to it. Back in the disco era.
Right, Bill Nye, we thank you.
Thank you.
Undeniable is our...
Carl Sagan, the master of non sequiturs. You know, I think he was a good scientist when he stuck to his field, but just like so many of these guys, once they set foot beyond their field, they're done for. I mean, Sagan was famous for the statement, the motto of cosmos. The universe is all there, the cosmos is all there ever was, is, or will be. And that is a 100% faith-based statement. It is not scientific.
So I remember thinking, I am just another speck of sand. And the Earth, really, in the cosmic scheme of things, is another speck. And the Sun, an unremarkable star, nothing special about the Sun. The Sun is another speck. And the galaxy is a speck. I'm a speck, on a speck, orbiting a speck, among other specks, among still other specks, in the middle of specklessness. I am insignificant. I suck.
Sex, 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 sex.
I